Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to build absolutely anything with Google's Firebase Studio, which is currently free to use, and then also n8n AI agents. So before I dive in, I should mention I personally built and sold over 80 grand worth of automation systems in just the past 6 months. So this isn't theoretical ideas, these are practical techniques I use with my clients. And so Firebase Studio lets you build apps using AI. All you need to do is just some basic English prompting and it creates the entire app for you. So you don't need to code anything, all of that is taken care of. Even if you've never seen a line of code in your life. And then n8n is the workflow automation tool, which will give us access to cool things like AI agents, AI workflows. You've probably seen some of my other videos where we actually go and build out n8n workflows. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to connect Firebase as the front end into our n8n scenarios, and I'm going to show you how to do all of the setup start to finish. And so the high level infrastructure of what we're building out today is we're building out a powerful app that I'm calling Cold Email Pro. I wanted to create a practical example here using Firebase Studio to build the front end for us, for where a user is going to input product specifications, like the specific product they're selling. Then we're going to be sending that request across to n8n, and then we're going to be processing that with the AI agent. And the AI agent is going to take those product details, generate tailored cold email copy, and send it back into Firebase Studio, the Firebase Studio app, which basically leaves us with this kind of workflow, this app that receives input from Firebase, does all the stuff with the AI agent, sends the output back to Firebase, and then in the front end app, they'll be able to see the cold email copy that is generated for them right inside of the app. And so this is kind of what the workflow is going to look like. We're going to start with the Firebase project. We're going to configure Firebase, and then we're going to set up the n8n automation, set up the n8n agents. We're going to connect Firebase with n8n, and then we're going to be triggering the n8n workflows from Firebase, and then at the end we'll have a completed application. So let's dive right in here. So if we go to Firebase. So once we're in Firebase, what we're going to do is we're going to have it build us the app. So I'm just going to say, build me an app that is for the purpose of creating cold email copy. Let's call the app quote cold email campaign generator, end quote. The app should have two components. The first component is a text query box where the user can enter in their product information, and the second component is a button called Generate Campaign. And when the user clicks on the Generate Campaign button, we're going to send their query as a post request to the following webhook. So that's the essence of what we're going to do. And now we're actually just going to go into n8n and set this webhook up. So if we go over here into n8n, you're going to start a new scenario. You're going to click webhook. The trigger is going to be a webhook. We're going to use the test URL, make sure it's a post request, and make sure the header, the authentication is none. And so now we're going to listen for a test event. We're going to add that in, and we're going to prototype with AI. So the webhook is all set up. In order for this, because it's a test request, the thing you should know about n8n webhooks, because it's a test request, you actually have to click test for it to receive any input. Whereas when it's the production URL, then it just runs any and all times, but you don't actually get to see it visually run. And so this is called Email Forge AI. There's a product info, a button, webhook integration, etc. Let's prototype this app. Now, it usually takes a little bit to prototype this app. It will probably take us about 60 seconds from start to finish for this to be prototyped. And I guess it's asking for a generator. All right, so I don't think we need this. It's asking for a Gemini key. Don't use anything with Gemini. This should strictly be one text query that is sent using a button and receives a response. So I'm just trying to update it here so that it doesn't try to use Gemini. And I'm actually just going to pause this video because it'll probably take about 1 to 2 minutes to run. Okay, now that it's set up, this is what it looks like. We have this text box, we have this go button, and we told it to send to this webhook URL. And so if I click test workflow, and then I add in the test query, click go, you'll see that it will send the webhook URL correctly. If we go to JSON right here, we can see it sent all this information, and then it sent in the body the query test query. And so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up the AI agent inside of n8n. And so what we're doing now is we are building out the agent. We're going to give it a chat model, OpenAI, and then we're going to have a memory of a window buffer memory. And then we're going to, I don't think we actually need to give it any tools. And we're just going to write this prompt with Claude. So we're going to call this a tools agent. We're going to define this below. This is going to be the test query. So we're going to drag and drop this test query in here, and then we're going to add an option as a system message. And so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Claude and actually write this prompt. So now once we're over here in Claude, basically what we're going to do is we're going to ask it to generate the AI agent system prompt. So I'm going to say, generate an AI agent system prompt. The system prompt should be for the purpose of generating cold email copy. We're going to be using the best practices of writing cold email. We're going to start with, hey, first name, then we're going to have a personalized message to the person. Just use sample messages for now. And then we're going to be taking the information from the product below that's mentioned below, and we're going to write a custom 2-sentence description of what the product is with a sample of a case study of one of the things that they did really well. And then we're going to end it off with a CTA asking them if it makes sense to chat. And I think that's it. All right. So it got some of this extra stuff. So generate an AI system prompt. And then I'm going to say, and make sure that it's all in XML. So now it's going to generate this for us. You can see, boom, you are this. Here's the format. Here's the product description, case study examples, personalizing reference. All right, so now we're going to copy this over into n8n. We're going to add that in here. We're going to make it an expression. We're going to open this up fully. We're going to take the query, and then the product description is going to just be this query that we got from Firebase. So now let's test this out. Let's do respond to webhook. So we're gonna, the end of this node is gonna be respond to webhook, and we're going to respond with JSON, and we're going to say that it's email copy. And if, let's say if we execute these previous nodes, error in some node window, no session ID found. Okay, I think we are going to need to test this one more time. So I'm going to go back to Firebase. I'm just going to literally just send random text, and it failed. Okay, so then we're going to make sure that this is respond using the respond node webhook, and then boom. So now we're going to test this one more time. And so no session ID found. We're going to make sure that this is set up properly. Error in subnode window buffer memory. Session keep from previous node is undefined. So let's define this. Because we're not processing too much, I don't think we actually need this. So let's just delete this. Let's test this out one more time. Let's see if that works now. Sending webhook. Boom. My OpenAI node is not working, so I'm going to go to OpenAI. OpenAI API keys, and then I'm going to go and grab this. Okay, so now that the OpenAI node is working, we're going to test this out. I'm going to click test workflow. I'm going to say add in a query here, and boom, it says response. I'm sorry, but it looks like you provided an incomplete request. So I guess it's because the query, but you can see that it worked. And so I'm gonna click test workflow one more time, and I'm gonna say lead generation services for B2B businesses, and I'm gonna go boom, and you can see please provide specific prospects information. And so it's generating it in that way still. So the output of the OpenAI agent is not ideal. And so let's update the prompt. And so let's say update this prompt so it produces email output every single time. So I'm going to go here. We're going to let this generate this, and we're going to say mandatory output. So this should ensure that we're actually getting something back, even if everything in it is not fully. Okay, boom. So we're going to update this now. We're going to go back into the AI agent. We're going to build this out, and then we're going to add in the body query into product description. Add that in here. Now let's test this one more time and see if we get a better output this time. So we're going to go boom, boom, and then I'm going to say B2B SaaS. The agent is running. It's not valid JSON, so it looks like potentially something in the syntax here. Hey, first name. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this into JSON. So I believe we can stringify this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this output, and then we're going to ask Claude, can you stringify this JSON variable, please? I can't remember exactly what the syntax is here. I think it just says, yeah, JSON.stringify, JSON.output. So it looks like it's going to be this one. Let's see if that works. Okay, so it's going to stringify it. No, I think that's going to put 2 extra quotes here, so we're not going to do that. We're going to say, we're going to convert this to JSON. Convert to JSON. We're going to edit fields. Let's ask Claude, how do I convert an output to JSON to make sure that it's always valid JSON in n8n? You can see we're building on the go here. Nothing works perfectly the first time. So I think, so maybe the stringify would work. Handle special characters. Restringify. Okay, let's try the stringify and see if that works. It might be too many. It might be too many, but let's test it out here. So if I go here, paste this in. Now let's test this. Put this text in here. Let it run. Let's see if it's valid JSON and response body field. So it's something with I think we could just tell it don't use brackets. I think the brackets are where it's messing up. Or it's because there's too many. Oh, there's an extra. Okay, let's try that one more time. It's a little bit of debugging here. See if that works. Boom. There we go. Now we want it to parse it. So, so now we're gonna say, but now when you're responding inside of the application, make sure to parse the JSON so that you're only outputting the response and not the variable name. What? It didn't. Make sure to parse the JSON so you're only outputting the response and not the variable name. Use the voice of text, it works pretty well most of the time, but you have to be text box has to be open. All right, so there's a wait, what is this? There's a drawing mode. I'm not gonna go into drawing mode. All right, so we're gonna let it parse the JSON, and then we're gonna update it. So if you noticed here, the problem wasn't actually that the JSON wasn't stringified. The problem was that there was an extra bracket here, which made it throw an error because there was 2 brackets where it was expecting 1. All right, so we're gonna go back to this. All right, boom, it's parsing it out. It's almost done here. You can see it editing some code, updating some stuff, parsing the JSON, checking the errors, and now I'm gonna say B2B SaaS company. Boom. Okay, but you can see now it threw this error. So the reason it threw this error is because we're in test mode, which means you have to trigger this test workflow event for it to work. So now if I click go again, it's gonna most likely work properly. So we have the AI agent, it's responding, boom. And now it's giving the webhook response. I can say, hey, first name, I noticed that you've been making waves in the B2B space with your recent initiatives, our platform, blah, 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 blah. And it's not perfectly formatted, but you can see it's pretty solid. So now I'm gonna say, update the user interface so that it's for a cold email platform app. The button should be generate cold email copy. And the title of the response shouldn't be webhook response. It should be email copy, and the title of the app should be email forge AI. All right, so let's have it stylize this, and I believe we can actually go in. I want to see if Firebase does this well, but we could say something like user interface designs SaaS. So we're going to look up some user interface designs. Let's just give it something that looks pretty clean like this. I'm going to copy an image. I'm going to say design. You can see it updated with email forge AI. We're going to say design it with this aesthetic design. All right. So let's see if it can actually go and build this out, because I know that Lovable does this really well. So let's see if Firebase does this well also. So Firebase is going, and it's thinking. I'm gonna pause this while it thinks. So everything's updated now. You can see how easy it is, where if I send a response of, I run an SEO marketing agency that sells to dentists, we could see again, this has to be running. So let's actually make this production ready now. So rather than having to click test workflow every time, we're actually going to turn this to active. Got it. And then we're going to take the webhook, we're going to change it to production URL. We're going to copy this production URL, and then we're going to say, I'm going to say update the webhook URL with the following webhook URL below. So we're going to update it with this webhook URL. That way we don't have to click test workflow. See, you can see here it says click the test workflow and try again. So we're going to set it to production with this new production URL, which means that it will work every single time. And we don't have to click the test workflow button over and over and over again. So it's updating the webhook URL. It's going to action.typescript. I think that's what .ts means. All right, the TypeScript, and it's changing the webhook and the server action. It's loading. Now it should be, we're waiting for a trigger event, but now watch. So now if I go to the executions tab, we should see this. And if it updated it correctly, let's say SEO agency for lawyers, it should run. It should create a new run here. Boom. yeah, so did another one just pop up? 9:57. Yeah, there we go. You can see that it just ran this without us having to do this, and we could say this a bunch of times. Recruiting SaaS. I think I spelled that wrong, but doesn't matter. So it's going to run, and now that it's in production, it will just give a response every single time. Obviously, this format needs a little bit of improvement, but yeah, now you can have this. You can publish it, and we could literally just have a production ready URL, and you could send this to your client that you're working with. You could say, like, here's how you can interact with all the apps, rather than having them interact with something like Google Sheets, Airtable, or wherever you're currently filling out forms. You can just create them a custom user interface just for them, and that will allow them. It's a higher touch experience for sure. And so if you enjoyed this and you want to learn more, me and my team are building out a database of hundreds, maybe even thousands of AI agent templates. We currently have about a dozen in here right now, but within the next week or two, we'll have another couple hundred in here. We have a growing community with weekly calls. So we're running 4 calls next week. We're doing AI business strategy. We're doing live AI systems development, n8n masterclass, 5 marketing, Q&As, all sorts of stuff like that. So if you want to meet me personally on some Zoom calls, join the community. And we have people in here literally looking to hire other people. We just got someone saying, hey, I want to pay someone to build me out an agent. We have someone that went from 1K to 13K MRR in 3 months. And we have new members every single day. So would love for you to check that out if it makes sense. Other than that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.